All right, you guys, I'm Brian. I'm gonna do a quick review on my auto lift. It's a 9,000 pound. It costed me $17.99 back 2 years ago before all of the COVID stuff started. Now they are like $29.49 or something like that. They've went up $1,200. So basically, I've had this lift a little over 2 years. It's never given me a single issue. If I had any complaints about it, it would be that it's super slow coming down and it just is kind of noisy. It just sounds kind of rough. But really, those things in the grand scheme of things don't matter so much as long as it works fine. It's never given me an issue. Right now, it's got a Cummins pickup full drive. When I put the truck on here, it was fully dressed out, the axles, wheels, tires, all that stuff. This is by far not the heaviest load that this lift has had, but it does just fine. The arms flex a little bit because these are the low profile square tubing arms. They're not quite as beefy as, say, the Benpack lifts arms. I also have a bagged C10 that it gets onto this lift no problem. I air it up, not even all the way, and it reaches underneath it just fine. So if you have like a low car or something like that, this thing does really good still with that. The arms do flex some, but they always come right back. Right now, this thing has been on the lift for a little over a month, and I do recommend getting these, I call them dead men, something that'll sit there and hold while you're wrenching on something, pulling on it or whatever, have the vehicle shaking. Those will stop all of that pretty much if you put them in the right place, if you have enough of them. I also would recommend having a transmission jack. I have wrestled several transmissions on my shoulders and stuff, including the one in this Dodge. But neither here nor there. That's nothing to do with the lift, but I highly recommend getting these things if you do have one. I'll run this thing up for you so you can hear it and see how fast or how slow it is, and I'll bring it back down at the end of the video so you can see how slow it is. One other thing that I'd say about these lifts, some of them that have the same style lock that are different brands or whatever, I've noticed people snatch the cables. Whenever you unlock the locks, you have to lift the vehicle up a little bit, and people will be snatching on them before they ever do that, and they'll wear the cables out and end up having to disable their locks, when really all you gotta do is go up to it and you can pull it with one finger. They have no issues. But I'll go ahead and run this thing up so you can see it, and we'll go from there. So this thing is not on the lift square because the axles were bent whenever I brought the truck in. It's not in here square. So whenever I originally put this lift up, I had adjusted the cable so that it would strike the locks at the same time as it was going up, because it was a pet peeve of mine to hear the locks going off at different times when they're supposed to be level with each other. But if your load is off to one side or another a little bit, it'll throw that off anyways, even if you get them adjusted right. This thing, like I said, it had the axles and everything on it. It's gonna become a mud truck. It'll be getting put on these huge tires right here and 5-ton axles, all that good stuff. So the locks, one finger, and it's pretty slow. It's wide open. So one other question that I've gotten quite a bit is how thick is my concrete? Right where the columns of the lift are, it's about 8 inches deep, which is overkill, and there's an X of rebar. However, my lift is mounted on a seam in the concrete, where a relief cut, and I've checked the bolts several times and they haven't even budged at all. They're still just as tight as the day I did it. And like I said, really the only complaint that I'd have with this thing is how slow it is. A friend of mine told me that I could have put transmission fluid in it instead of hydraulic oil and it would come down much faster. And maybe one day, whenever I service it, I will swap that out and try it. And if I don't like it, I'll switch it back. But really, I mean, I would buy this thing absolutely again, even now that they're almost $3,000, just because I never thought I would use one as much as I've used this thing. I'm not a production shop. I primarily do paint and body work, but I find myself using this thing all the time, whether it's to remove a body, a bed, hang things from, to paint, or just service on my vehicles. I have 2 Duramaxes that have both been on this, that are both full drive, and it's got no issues. Matter of fact, I don't even have any light vehicles. Even my C10 that's bagged, the thing weighs 5,000 pounds because I built it like a mud truck. But so if you guys have any questions about this or any of the other stuff that I have, check out some of my other videos. I'll do reviews or tell you the pros and cons of different things, or anything in general. Just ask me. But yeah, I appreciate you watching.